here we are, something that's been called the LIDA property, but it's Soda Springs Ranch. At really the behest and the activism from the council, Melanie, you starting, Todd as a mayor leaning in, Nina, others knowing the history and the players. We executed a contract last week as the board to purchase this 210 acres for $2.1 million.
Which is a steal.
Fabulous.
Steel, transfer, put a conservation easement on it, have it not be developed, transfer it over to the city to turn it into a park, and now we're going to come back and look at initial public access. And so I want to go to you two first, but Nina, can you talk about what this means for this area? I mean, we're right here next to City Park, which is one of the most utilized areas by our diverse population.
Beautiful legacy park.
Yeah.
It's just fabulous. Well, I think it expands all of the recreational and health and active lifestyle choices that we have, because we have had precious few, really, unless you want to go into a gym or do something like that. But this is fabulous. This is what I like.
Yeah.
I like being out in nature.
Well, I love how you get like the chills when we're talking about this. I do too. This is why we're in public service.
And it's cool here.
Oh, yeah.
When it's
I'll
hot other places.
just bring up one thing too.
Yeah.
Also, the listing agent who's on there, Graham, he and his partner in Healdsburg called Steve Arrett at Sonoma County Parks and said, "You need to have a chance at this. You need to have a crack at this." So we actually had realtors, local realtors, who said this piece of property is too special. It has limited development potential because of the elevation, and it has huge community benefit. And they called Steve Arrett, and then Steve Arrett called us.
God, that's cool.
And so it's real. That's the story. That's the origin story, if you will. So
It's walking distance to
Yeah.
downtown.
yeah. There isn't anything else like this. This would be accessible to literally thousands of people, and I think it's something that we talked about earlier too, with the fellow who worked for the Water Quality Agency. As soon as you invest in properties like this, every property within walking distance, but every property within Cloverdale becomes more valuable.
Yeah.
And that's more property tax revenue. That's an amenity for the residents, and it's access to parks for everyone, regardless of income, within walking distance
I love
or
that we've-
biking distance. I almost rode my bike over here because
Right.
it's almost as fast as driving.
Yeah, it is probably.
Yeah.
I love
and
that
so-
we're sitting here at a location that out of all the 10 projects we've looked about that we're moving on, this is the quietest, the most peaceful,
It's
and the most
beautiful.
welcoming. And I want to thank all of you. Melanie, you were the one who really brought this up and advocated it to me. Told me you would call my wife
Yeah.
if I didn't
heard
respond
that.
to your call.
Yeah.
Todd, you really worked with the family, and like there was a lot of back and forth on this. We had to honor the public process, but
This is the way that, what was the theme of the day almost, I guess. The collaboration to create a destination spot for Cloverdale.
Yeah.
It's not only this access here, the next housing development's
The next
over.
neighborhood
it
over.
crosses to them, so you put little trailheads where you can access anywhere in Cloverdale. You're within a couple blocks of a county park, of a beautiful open access.
And none of
open
those
space.
folks will ever have development behind their houses.
Yeah.
Just like
Right.
Clover Springs enjoys that amenity as well, is that they're never going to have development above them on the hill. The folks in that neighborhood aren't going to have development over the hill, and they know that the fire danger is going to be managed because we're going to be on top of that from day one.
I think one of the keys too is that Cloverdale has really stepped up and with the growing pains of investing and getting projects for affordable housing. We were just at a spot that was farm worker housing across the street. You had another big development come in, 2 more for senior areas. But if you're going to be able to build your internal urban core, you have to protect these areas, which are not appropriate for development at this point. These are the danger areas, but these are also the areas that, like, instead of building 5 or 10 McMansions, need to be public access for all those folks that we
everybody.
have coming in, so that they, so we share this.
But there are some very important water quality issues on this hillside as well, because these hills feed the creeks that go underneath Cloverdale and go right into the Russian River. And so again, there are opportunities for funding for water quality, for for fire safety, that are better in our hands, and if they're managed on a city basis or in partnership with county parks, our neighbors will, and the city will be better off because the property is going to be a safer neighbor.
Well, I think we just got to thank the Lida family for negotiating in good faith with a public entity. This is cool that we're here because this is signed, sealed, and delivered as of last week because of you all.
Well, and they know it's going to be preserved in perpetuity
Yeah.
for our community and for all of our visitors as well, because it really is an absolute gem.
Right.
This is an absolutely spectacular piece of property, and now it's going to be accessible to everybody.
And enjoyed by so many
Yeah.
people.
Probably
You
millions.
said what I say all the time. This is one of the best kept secrets in the county is Cloverdale.
Yeah.
And I like to keep it that way.
Yeah,
This
and
is what we do.
there's
You,
nothing
you,
wrong
you
with
keep
that
making
for-
it better.
Yeah.
And that's it. And Melanie was the spearhead on this. I have to give her all the credit. I can't take it. She nailed this one. This is so amazing.
It's-
Like,
you know,
I like it when,
Is it-
when Melanie
do we
gets
work
loud
together?
on something
Yes,
that
but
she
you know what?
she-
When her ideas meet up with everyone else's and she's pushing, I love it. It just it works.
People,
Amazing.
you know, working in obscurity, making tiny little decisions that you never think are going to be important, and 10 years later, it's what
It's huge.
creates the
It
opportunity.
makes the, yeah,
So,
makes the difference.
yeah, that's why it's like more people need to get involved, not fewer people involved in public service. Serving on planning commissions, running for city council,
Yeah.
you know, being, volunteering at the senior center, being on our boards, because that's where these community ideas come from.
It is.